to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moment of silence. Please be seated. I see no citizens. Need approval of the agenda for today.
Move approval of the agenda dated July 21st, 2015.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Approval of the minutes for July 14th.
Move approval of the minutes.
Need a second.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Discussion and approval of claims.
Move it.
Need a second.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Human Resources. Approval of memorandum for personnel transactions. Need a motion.
Move it.
Need a second.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. All right. Need a motion, if I can get there, to set a time for the sale of property number 1788990.
Move to set the public hearing August 4th at 4:35.
Need a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Receive County Recorder's report of fees collected. Need a motion.
Move on it.
Need a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay.
Mr. Chairman, can we back up for 1 minute?
Yep.
Karen, are we selling that one piece of property and we own the properties up all around it? The piece of property we're putting up for sale, then we own two properties to the right, or to the left, and one property to the right. Is that correct? Or I don't know if we want to do that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, let's see. There's an issue with that. I think I went. Mike, are you familiar with that property?
West 14th.
16 West 14th.
I think I went out there and looked at that thing, and it's pretty much downhill. Matter of fact, there's nothing around it much.
There's Heather.
Heather, you're on. Dennis, will you show her the picture?
We're going to eventually sell them. To be honest, I think the guy just doesn't have all the funds yet, but he does want them all.
So
Same
they wanna buy
guy.
'em one at a time.
Yeah, he plans on buying the other one probably the end of next month, and then the other two possibly in the spring. So,
It's on a hill, right?
Sure. I don't know if you recall in the past where we sold those other lots to Justin Englehart with Wild Bee Honey. He's a beekeeper.
Yep.
Those two work together. So this Isaac, they work together. It's the same deal. So it's either going to be Isaac or Justin that's going to buy those other three.
What's the board's wishes? Do we want to go back and see if he'll?
Yeah, if we could package the whole thing and sell it as a unit.
Sell the whole thing for $150.
All four?
Yeah.
It would save the publication fees if you do it all at once versus 3 times or 4 times.
Good point.
So the price for that one was $275.
Right.
So then all 4 parcels for $275.
Well,
Well, it would. I have cost of services on the other 3 that are around 100, 125 as well for legal publications that I've already done and lien searches.
If the board wants to withdraw that, I will go out and take another look at it. If it's what I remember it being, I don't know what you'd use that for.
They just use it for the bees.
Bees.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
And they are really good about going around to all the property holders that have adjoining property around there also, and they have good relations with them, so they know what they're doing, and I've never had one complaint. So
If we have sunk costs already, and I don't know, sounds like we do, then we could sell this one and package the next 3.
I think they'd probably be all right with that.
All right, let's leave it stand and put the other 3 together.
Okay.
I don't know why you chose that one.
I'll let them know. And
Print that off for me and I'll run out and look at it.
okay.
Okay. Next item up for bid, Rural Economic Development, Mr. Gleiser.
We mostly said that on just on that line.
Good evening. David Gleiser, Director of the Rural Economic Development Department. Board members, I'm just here to get some direction from you all in terms of our involvement or level of participation in key signature events with the Siouxland Chamber of Commerce. We are a member or an investor with the Siouxland Chamber of Commerce, and we have, since I've been here, have participated and sponsored a table at the annual dinner event, and I was contacted by the Chamber last week to see if we would seek sponsorship again for this year, and wanted to know what your level of interest in doing that, and I guess I would also like some direction in terms of involvement at some of their events, such as the Key Executive Welcome and the Siouxland Industrial Roundtable.
Well, Dave and I had this conversation, and I think we need to go as representing Woodbury County. We need to be there. I suggested to him 2 tables, one of which we would not pay for, because I'm sure my spouse would love to go. So we would have to fill the other table with paying customers, but and split them up, of course. But that would mean we would pay $800 for one table. I think the program is unbelievable. 2 of the biggest politician makers in the world. Certainly is nonpartisan.
Would the second table be a reservation, or would we be on the hook if we didn't fill those 10 seats?
No, we'd have to have 10 people from the county. And there's a few names I don't see on here, which we certainly could pull in.
I was critical. We've done this once before, and I was very critical of David about that. But what we're doing here is being a sponsor. It's not $800, it's $2,500.
No.
No.
Okay, so there's 3 levels of sponsorship. Tier 1 is $2,500.
That's the front row.
That's the front row. Tier 2 is $2,200, and Tier 3 is $1,900 for a table of 10. It also gives you visibility on their literature, on the marketing materials, the program, and name mentions throughout the event. And then a general admission table for chamber members for a table of 10 is $800, or basically $80 per person. Non-chamber members, for general public, would pay $95 a ticket or $950 for a table of 10.
And last year, the county table was what, 19?
Correct.
And Sergeant Bluff had a table next row back for 800.
Sergeant Bluff was right next to us, and they had a level 3 sponsorship. And then I do remember the city, Sioux City, being just maybe like a row or 2 behind us, and they had an $800 table, general admission table.
So is the idea, Mr. Chairman, to have a level tier 3 sponsorship? No, not
General?
Both general.
Both general.
Okay.
And David would pay for one table $800, and then the rest of us would have to fork over for our spouses or whoever we wanted to bring. And if we can't,
If they want to come, I'm not sure my spouse would want to go. That's not typically anything that he has ever wanted to do before.
right?
So I'd be willing.
I don't know. To me, and you know my feeling on this, if you want to go to the chamber dinner, buy a ticket.
I don't think that represents the county.
And I guess that, I understand what you're saying, Mr. Clausen. And I would say that in terms of being a representative or a member of this organization, we do have an organizational membership. So if I were to attend, it would be as a representative of the organization.
Well, my feelings are that last year, a previous board spent $1,900. We're asking this board now to spend $800, so it'll be $1,100 less than the previous board was willing to spend. I think the city of Sioux City, Sergeant Bluff, and others obviously do so, and I think that for those like yourself who are going to represent the county, I think that's a good use of our time and dollars. And of course, anyone who else wishes to attend may do so. But I'll support that because I think it's a good idea to do, especially because you recommended it.
But just for
Thank you, Mr. Haley.
clarification, it did not really come to this board last year. It was sort of
Yes, this board, it was after the fact, and that's why I said I had a
So
serious
the chairman
discussion.
last year just, were you the culprit?
David,
I think he was the culprit.
David
I
was
mean,
the
somebody signed the check.
I believe the chairman gave him approval and then he withdrew it, but then he let it go.
Okay. Well,
I
that's
think the
all in the
motion
past.
should be for an $800 table, and David would assist in securing a second table having nothing to do with the county, but we would end up being split between the two or various factions.
I have one more thought. How many governments usually attend? Sergeant Bluff, Sioux City,
South Sioux, North
South
Sioux, some of the outlying towns do come in.
Just thought it might be probably not doable, but at one point in time we talked about, or maybe I talked about it in my own head, mixing up the tables with the other governmental bodies. Kind of showing, not just a Woodbury County table, but maybe, but it would take maybe too much coordination. But that would be another option, is if we want to get together even with Sioux City or Sergeant Bluff and just say, do we want to kind of mix up the tables a little bit? And if we're at the same level, it might work too. Just
That
to
could be a way to fill it if we run out of county people.
Trying to become one with all the government.
Sure. I mean, and I did give a list of recommended county attendees, and if some of these people that were on this list are not interested or unable to attend, I could, basically facilitate the scheduling or reservations of the seats. And
So your motion was to approve one $800 table? Jeremy?
Right, but we would be reserving two, is that correct?
I'll have to talk to them, but I think we would need to reserve two tables.
Well, but
Can
this
we
is to
reserve
pay for
two?
one.
And then we would ask for,
Right.
non-county attendees to
I
pay
think
their
they'll
way.
do that.
Yes, that is my motion.
Can I have a clarification on this? Okay, but there's 10 people on your list, and and the tables are 10. Okay, all right.
Need a second? I'll second. Discussion?
The motion is for,
To allow Mr. Gleiser to pay for one table for 10 at $800.
And to reserve another table that would not be paid for by county funds.
Yeah, which we don't have to have an
have
emotion.
you got that, Mr. Gill?
There we go. Right.
That was my question.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay.
Nay.
Secondary roads. Mr. Nara. Thank you, sir.
Hooking on cords.
I thought you
Dave,
were doing a judo move there for a minute.
No. Trying to show off my not so great balance, I guess. But we have bids today for 2 half-ton pickups that would be used by the engineering staff. These are replacing 2 aging vehicles within our fleet. We have 2 bids. First one is from Jensen Motors. We found out subsequent to putting out the bids that we're a little ahead of Ford's fleet, although they were going to search their lots to see if they had anything that would work. Jensen Motors is bidding a 2016 Ram 1500. Purchase price $28,990. Trade-in on unit 101, $7,100. Net purchase price $21,890. Jensen Motors is also bidding a Ford F-150. Same prices, $28,990, $7,100 trade, $21,890 net. For the second bid, trade-in on unit 104, they're bidding 2016 Ram 1500 for $28,990. Trade-in on 104 is $5,000. Net price $23,990. And then they have the same bid for the 2015 F-150. I guess they were able to find a Ford truck to bid.
It was a 2015 though.
Yeah, well, we asked for 2015 or 2016 because when we bid in the summer, we're right kind of in the middle of the switchover. And the next one is from Kneffler Chevrolet. price $28,990. Trade in on the first vehicle $5,500. Net purchase price $23,490. Then on the second unit, $28,990. $5,500 on the second unit, $23,490. That concludes the bids.
Move the bids be referred to the engineer for recommendation.
Second.
You need to look at them?
They're all the same price, pretty much. It's a matter where we want a Ford, Dodge, or a Chevy, so I guess I will consult with staff. I did see that Jensen noted some things that were not available on the trucks, so I wouldn't mind having the week to look at them, make the award next week.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay.
While I'm here, did the board have any thoughts on when to do the second tour? We kind of lost track of that. We got busy with RISE grant and everything else in late May and June, and
It will be in August, I can tell you that.
okay. We'll plan on that then. Okay. I am planning to arrive at Anthon a half hour early with Ben. We've put out a little bit of an invitation for those residents in the area to discuss that intersection options. So
very good.
we got a hold of a couple of our key people in the area. Darwin Heyman, I know he'll be there, and we contacted a couple other folks to see what their feelings were on the eventual configuration of that intersection on the D50 grading and paving project. So,
Very good.
thank you.
All right, Board of Supervisors, Matthew Hung and John Malloy. Discussion of changing county email addresses.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This, I believe, is the first time this item would have come up as an agenda item, although I know it's been an issue for quite some time, on and off. I believe in order to improve customer service, to properly characterize county employees, it makes common sense to initiate an email domain transition from the current @sioux-city.org to a domain that includes Woodbury County or similar. It just on the surface seems quite illogical for us to be representing ourselves not only as supervisors but as department heads and as county employees this way. County department heads have expressed undue burdens associated with conducting Woodbury County business under a Sioux City email domain. This has been expressed at public board meetings recently as well as the July department head meeting. As an example of the obvious misrepresentation given, citizens have approached or called City Hall rather than the county courthouse. The cost seems to be fairly negligible, which Mr. Malloy can speak to shortly, but it's just a matter of us deciding on the specifics. Again, if you're a county supervisor in any other county, your domain matches where you work, and the same is true of department heads. And I just think in order for this county to not portray the image of being Sioux City-centric overly so, we should transition away from that and make it a little easier for citizens to know where to go for possibly their first visit to the county courthouse or City Hall. So before making a motion, I invited John here to fill us in on the history, backstory, and how this would play out.
Okay. Very well spoken. John Malloy, IT. Last month, Supervisors Ung and Smith approached me about the possibility of creating an internet domain for Woodbury County. And in the last month, we've done some assessment and tried to capsulize that in a report that hopefully is in your work packet there. About 20 years ago, it was sort of a natural evolution that we had SiouxCity.org, and just, again, there was not a conscious decision not to have a Woodbury County domain. I know when I first started, I found it somewhat odd as well. Floated that idea as far as having a Woodbury County specific domain. Some department heads are really, and elected officials are excited about that. Some are at the opposite end of the spectrum. So did put together what I felt was the history, financial impact. Most of the costs will be indirect in nature. It'll be our labor. You're also most likely going to have website updates you're going to have to find where they'll say contact treasurer at siouxcity.org, or there could be stationery that you have or business cards that reflect Mark Munson at siouxcity.org as well. So costs and some of those, again, stationery and signage costs possibly. I'm here to answer questions.
How long would it take to roll that over?
I'm guesstimating, again, did you guys get this document? Okay, yeah, I'm guesstimating $80 to $100 on our part. And again, having the proper resources in place to do that. Like my main internet resource is on vacation for 2 weeks, as fate may have it, during this, just started this week. So as far as intense planning.
How long will it take, though, to get it? I mean, we got to do some advertising.
Advertising as far as...
Well, the emails are different.
Right.
You can get it on our website and so on.
Yeah. Again, I'm guesstimating $80 to $100 on our part to do that. Plus, there's going to have to be client education, or internal clients will have to understand the process to say John Malloy at Woodbury whatever. And
will there be? I know in the military they transitioned over from to enterprise, and there, if you emailed the previous address, it would automatically redirect.
Yes.
Will that still be? Would that be the case here if somebody chose to or didn't know for some time that it would automatically be forwarded to the new WoodburyCounty.domain?
That's
whatever that is.
What Mr. Taylor's saying is, so the previous email address would be, the technical term is to redirect to a new address. Since we've never done this before, that's what we're anticipating happening. So yes, that's what would happen. You'd have dual addresses out there.
I'm glad to know that you're going to the Woodbury County address.
Would your first step then be to come back and let us know which domain you would recommend specifically, or does that?
As I detailed, there's a small table on page 2 under key issues. I provided the supervisors with a half a dozen examples of what different counties have. Again, that's a representative sampling. If you have a sampling that you're fond of, again, I would like this group or the sponsorship, since Supervisors Ong and Smith are on my commission, it seems like it would be natural for them to maybe facilitate that name change or sponsorship. Then we also have to see if it's available. That's another. I know when we first did this 20 years ago, there was people squatting on different names, and they'd ask for a small ransom to purchase that name.
They fixed them, though, didn't they?
Yeah, I think that a lot of that's been removed, yes. A lot of the .gov, your .gov addresses are available. So if you do something like Boone County did, the state would have control over our domain name. I would not be real excited about that, but that is an option. So
I would.
There you go.
Yeah, for $108.
Right.
I would assume the first part would be the same. M. Munson.
Right.
Why would you change?
No, you would not, unless you would want WoodburyCountyIowa.gov or some derivative of that. Again, I'd like you guys to decide that rather than me.
Well, we could argue all night about that.
Right.
Let's give two people a responsibility, and then we can yell at them.
Oh, no, let's just throw something out right now.
No, you two can hash it out.
I don't.
Off the top of my head, the website is Woodbury, Iowa. You could
It's WoodburyIowa.com. That's an option.
Oh, yeah.
That's an option.
Is that a motion?
Make it.
I move county direct the IT director to secure a WoodburyIowa.gov.
That's an option, yes.
If possible, for county email domain.
Need a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay.
See how well we work together?
I want to see if it's taken.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, guys.
That was way too easy, John. Reports and committees. Honduras.
As I mentioned to someone, Mark Narrow, you'd have a tough time with the road system there in Honduras. You'd have a tough time bringing that up to par. That was a third world trip, but also enjoyed some scuba diving and some time with my wife's family. Haven't seen them for years.
They have sharks down there?
They do have sharks. Didn't see one, but saw a couple other cool animals. And I appreciate the board waiting an extra 2 seconds for every agenda item for my votes to come in. It's nice to be able to vote in real time.
I was wondering if you might open up whatever you have there.
What?
I assume that you brought us
Oh,
something, a Mayan
Oh.
cornhusk doll or some coffee.
I'll
liqueur?
reveal it at the appropriate time.
Okay, well, we're waiting.
Yes.
Okay, public service announcement. Sharknado 4, I think, is on tomorrow night on Sci-Fi Station.
Is that why you're asking about
Yeah,
sharks?
I did, yeah. Okay, anyone else?
Just wanted to mention, I know there were some people who were here, but just for the public, if you want to watch it on YouTube, the Baker Group did, I think, a very good job of detailing and working with Kenny and Mike in building services as far as a facilities audit. And so, Mark, I don't know if you've gone through and seen secondary roads, but there's extra copies of the materials, and I think it's exciting.
I think it's a good starting point. Really a good starting point. Kind of lays it out, get us moving. Anyone else? If not, take a motion to adjourn. Or citizens? Any citizens? Need a motion to adjourn.